Euro 2024 group stages are done, so let's review them. We opened Euro 2024 with host Germany versus Scotland, and everyone was talking about how if the Scots could just hold off the Germans for a while, they had a chance. Unfortunately though, the Scots conceded in just the first 10 minutes. I mean listen, we've all been there. Our nation qualifies for an international tournament, our hopes are high, but then we see our own pride shattered and blood splattered. But you know what's worse than seeing your own national team get exposed on live television for the whole world to see? Having your personal information stolen. Unknowingly. But you won't have to worry about that anymore, thanks to today's sponsor, NordVPN. NordVPN may not be able to save Scotland's horrific defense, but it is quick to protecting you from foreign entities entering your own box. And you don't even have to 2-foot tackle anyone to do it. With one simple click, you will become immediately safer online. With NordVPN, your digital location is hidden. You are protected from any identity theft and any online trackers trying to stalk you. So sure, Scotland may have just conceded a 5th goal, but at least you can relax knowing your address hasn't been stolen off StreamEast. But not only does NordVPN free you of any threats or surveillance, it can also break down any wall preventing you from watching your favorite content no matter where you are in the world. This summer, I've been able to indulge in the joys of watching Fox Sports coverage of Euro 2024 and especially Copa America. But when I go to Germany in a couple days, everything will be region locked, the live shows and even the clips, and I'll be very sad. However, thanks to NordVPN, I can now change my location to the great US of A and listen to expert analysis from my favorite hosts.
I don't think that there ever will be somebody like Messi. It's generational talent. It's like Maradona, and then Messi has just had that crown. But there's other players, Jude Bellingham, Pulisic coming up.
Use the link on screen to get NordVPN's 2-year plan plus an extra 4 months free. And it's also 100% risk-free with NordVPN's 30-day money-back guarantee. So what are you waiting for? Watch your favorite content anywhere on the go, and don't have security equivalent to the Scottish national team. The following day saw the Swiss comfortably beat Hungary 3-1 thanks to a goal and assist from Michel Aebischer. Crazy fact as well, he's the first ever Swiss player to score a goal and assist another in the Euros. But you would have never known that was the case if you were in the US. Because despite Fox Sports holding broadcasting rights for the Euros, they didn't show this game. Instead, what your average fan from the States saw was fishing. Anyways though, after the first games of Group A, Germany and Switzerland hold the spots to advance to the next round currently, while Hungary and especially Scotland hope to bounce back. Later that day, we saw Group B begin its campaign for Euro 2024, and in just 32 minutes, it became pretty evident that Father Time had finally caught up to the Croatian dark magic as Spain scored twice. Then, right before halftime, a child assists Dani Carvajal, and Spain make a big statement to the rest of the world with a dominating 3-0 win. A couple hours later was Italy versus Albania. Just 18 seconds played, the Italians make a mistake in the back as Nadim Bahrami intercepts it and sets himself up.
Nadim, this is your conscience speaking. You know what to do, right?
But voices in my head. It's a tight angle, guarded by a top keeper. No way I could score this.
Need I remind you? Dua Lipa is one.
Glory to Albania! They may have not seen this tournament since 2016, but Albania was making it very clear they were here to stay.
It's Pellegrini. It's a good-looking ball in so far. Oh, that's a wonderful...
You guys couldn't just hold them off for even 20 minutes? After snatching the lead away, the Italians took control, but with every opportunity, they just could not kill off the Albanians. Which then opened a late opportunity for Albania as Ray Manai gets in behind the defense, but his attempt goes agonizingly wide. So in the end, the reigning champions Italy take hold of all 3 points. And now they sit just behind Spain in Group B, while Croatia sit bottom with a mountain to climb already. On to the next day, the group of death began with Poland versus the Netherlands, and boy were the Dutch fans having a great time. However, for the Poles, they were not only just heavy underdogs, but they would be also without Robert Lewandowski in their first game. Oh no, whatever will they do? Oh wait, half the squad is f***ing 8 feet tall. Now finding themselves on fraud watch, again, the Dutch finally woke up and responded quickly through a lucky deflection in the 29th minute. The game really started to open up from here as both teams had numerous opportunities to score, but to no avail. But then, with less than 10 minutes played, the Dutch called upon instant impact man. Give me freedom, give me fire, give me less than 8 nanoseconds of playing time or I will retire. And with that goal, the Netherlands would go on to win 2-1 and earn all 3 points. 3 years ago, Christian Eriksen suffered cardiac arrest in Denmark's opening Euro 2020 match, and while he survived, many believed this was the end of his career. However, 3 years later in Denmark's Euro 2024 opener, Christian Eriksen would complete what had been a miraculous comeback with a goal early on versus Slovenia. But what was even more impressive is that he scored the first ever goal worth 2 points. What a guy. Denmark did well to control the game, but then around the 60th minute mark, they just kinda shut down for some reason. And Slovenia immediately pounced on the opportunity, and after Benjamin Šeško committed first-degree murder on a post, Slovenia are awarded a corner, and the ball finds its way to fullback Erik Jansa outside the penalty area. To end off the third day of Matchday 1, we had England vs Serbia. However, prior to the match, a fight had broken out between fans of both teams. Happy Father's Day, everyone. It has come to my attention that those were not actually English fans fighting the Serbians. It was Albanians. I gotta say though, those hooligans in Gelsenkirchen sure put up a better fight than the actual national teams that played. Because while England won 1-0 through a Jude Bellingham header, Christ above, this game was f***ing terrible. But hey, you know, considering all the talent you had, you may have been quite underwhelming, England. But you do have the song of the summer. With one game down, England lead Group C, while Denmark and Slovenia are tied for second. On to day 4, and the world got to witness some absolute rockets from Romania as they destroyed Ukraine 3-0. Well, that is if you were anywhere else besides the US, because here we saw f***ing fishing! The other Group B match unfolded a couple hours later. Belgium vs Slovakia. 2 minutes played, Belgium smelling blood already as Jeremy Doku squares it to De Bruyne, it then falls to Lukaku. 5 minutes played, Lukaku finds himself free with just the keeper to beat. 1 minute later, Belgium build from the back this time, but they completely f*** it up and Slovakia out of absolutely nowhere take the lead. Football heritage. But this Belgian side was different. Less senior citizens, new coach, and more importantly, no more drama. 55 minutes played, Trossard whips in a wonderful cross to Romelu Lukaku, who finally converts. But it's offside. 2 minutes later, De Bruyne this time with the delivery. The defender only gets a piece of it, and now here's Lukaku! Do not lose hope, Belgians. It is only a matter of time. Lois Openda squares it nicely to Romelu Lukaku, and finally this time, Belgium's all-time top scorer finds the back of the net. You really thought it was that simple, huh?
Andre is not even my name, mate. Do you know what I mean?
And once more, the legacy of failure continues as Belgium fall even farther from grace than I thought possible as Slovakia stunned the Red Devils 1-0. Looking at Group B so far, it is truly beautiful. Romania topped the group with Slovakia just behind them, while the two teams considered favorites to advance sit with goose eggs at the bottom. Finally, to end off the day, we had a feisty battle between France and Austria in the group of death. 35 minutes played, Austria's Michael Gregorich delivers a wonderful cross to Marcel Sabitzer, who lays it off for Baumgartner, but his shot is saved by Mike Magnan. By the way, this somehow didn't result in a corner. 2 minutes later though, here come the French as Mbappe drives a ball into the 6-yard box and it's headed home brilliantly by Austrian Max Weber. Second half now, Mbappe frees himself of the defense and has just the keeper to beat, but it appears the Frenchman has reverted back to Euro 2020 Mbappe. And so the game ends 1-0 to the French, but quite honestly, I would say the Austrians are a little more happy in this case. They may have lost, but they put up a really strong fight against the French, and they shouldn't be disappointed whatsoever. On the other side of the coin, the French may have won, but they were pretty shaky. And it's definitely not going to help that Mbappe will probably be out for the rest of the group stage because of his broken nose. After the first games of the group of death though, the French and Dutch have the top spots, but by no means is this anywhere near over. Finally, we have reached the last day of Matchday 1, where all we have remaining are the matches of Group F. First was the false dark horses Turkey versus newcomers Georgia, and within the first 10 minutes, the Turks nearly score. 24 minutes played now, Kadiolu lofts it up, Georgia clears it, but only as far as Mert Muldur, who lashes it first time into the top corner. 1-0 Turkey. However, 7 minutes later, Georgia with the chance. Kokorashvili squares it to Georgia's Mikhaeladze and it sneaks just past the keeper. 1-0. 3 minutes later, the land of glorious Hachapuri are really starting to feel it now, but Mikhaeladze just misses the net. 64 minutes played, Turkey wins the ball back. It then falls to 19-year-old Arda Güler, who unleashes the fury of every single disappointing Turkish campaign since 2016, and the Turks regain the lead. But fine, I'll do it myself, says Kokorashvili just moments later, but he hits the crossbar. Turkey, though, don't want any more of this nonsense, and in the 86th minute, they try to kill off the game, but Mamardashvili comes up big. Into the second minute of stoppage time now, Georgia gets themselves a golden opportunity, but a miscommunication sees the ball go agonizingly wide. 3 minutes later though, with time expiring, a Georgian header hits the post but falls to Davitashvili, who has a clear sight of goal. Or so it seemed, as Turkey's summit Akaydin sacrifices himself. Then on the ensuing corner, Turkey dispossesses Georgia on the edge of the box, and with no keeper in sight, Kerem Aktürkoğlu puts the dagger in this one. Turkey earned their first win in the Euros in 8 years, and what a way to do it in an absolute spectacle of a match. That Fox broadcasted bass fishing over at f***ing noon! Over to the other Group F game. After Portugal wasted all of our time for an entire half, the Czechs with their first chance then just said f*** it, we will trust in the spirits of Eastern Europe to guide this ball. But then, not even 10 minutes later, the Czechs f*** themselves over and Portugal find an equalizer. Roberto Martinez then makes 3 subs in the 90th minute, and 2 of them link up to score the winner for Portugal not even seconds later. So much for that Haywatch. So to cap off Matchday 1, Turkey are atop Group F with Portugal just below them. They play each other on Matchday 2. To begin Matchday 2, we had Albania vs Croatia, and in just 10 minutes, the Albanians would once again shock the world as Quasim Lassi scores. From there, Albania continued to put the pressure on, and quite honestly, had their finishing been a bit better, it could have been wraps after 45 minutes. Second half was a completely different story though, as Croatia were in desperation mode, and it finally paid off with an equalizer in the 73rd minute. Then just 2 minutes later, Albania fumbled the bag again, this time with a comical own goal from Klaus Jasula, who had literally just been subbed in 4 minutes prior. However, there was no time to sulk. The message was very clear. Do it for her. Into the 4th minute of stoppage time, Klaus Jasula, the same man who scored the own goal, rights all his wrongs and scores the equalizer to save Albania at the death. 2-2 the final score, Albania gives themselves a lifeline while Croatia are seriously in trouble. Next we return to Group A, where Hungary's defense was imploding in real time, and Germany's Jamal Musiala gets his second of the tournament. However, Hungary didn't just lay down and die, as they responded right before halftime. Unfortunately, it was offside. Nonetheless, in the 58th minute off the break, Roland Saleh delivers it wonderfully to Barnabas Varga, but he can't keep the shot down. And then 8 minutes later, Hungary rued their missed chances as İlkay Gündoğan scores and caps off another victory for the Germans. That now means the hosts are officially the first team to advance to the knockouts of Euro 2024. Everyone pretty much counted out Scotland after they were demolished 5-1. However, in just 12 minutes against the Swiss, Scott McTominay scores for the Tartan Army. But once more, the defense fucks up and Xherdan Shaqiri respawns to score his biannual tournament banger. From there, the game was end-to-end business, but it wasn't until the second half when things really got interesting. 66 minutes played, a Scottish free kick from the edge of the box connects with Grant Hanley, but it hits the crossbar. Then in the 81st minute, Briel Mbolo gets him behind the defense and elegantly chips it over the keeper. But it's offside. 8 minutes later, a Swiss free kick is delivered beautifully to Zeki Amdouni, but his header goes wide. So in the end, the two teams cannot be separated and both earn a single point. Now looking at Group A, as we mentioned before, Germany lead with 6 points and are confirmed for the next round. Switzerland have a good hold of second with 4 points. Their last match is against the Germans. Meanwhile, 3rd and 4th place Scotland and Hungary will both be eager to get a win off each other to sneak through via the best 3rd place teams. Slovenia vs Serbia occurred the following day, and after Benjamin Šeško dented another post, Slovenia continued their Cinderella run, scoring in the 69th minute through Zan Karnišnik. However, just when the Slovenians thought it was all steel, Luka Jovic heads home the equalizer for Serbia with just 2 seconds of stoppage time remaining. Heartbreak for Slovenia and a lifeline for Serbia as the game ends 1 apiece. A couple hours later was the other Group C game, Denmark vs England, a Euro 2020 semi-final rematch. England drew first blood in the 17th minute through Harry Kane thanks to a defensive error from the Danish. But then, Gareth Southgate decided to have his team set up this far back, and Denmark punished his team for it in the 34th minute. And that was about it. Another 1-1 draw in Group C. That said, England still hold on to the top spot with 1 game to go, and the battle for second between Denmark and Slovenia should be very interesting as well. Denmark plays Serbia while Slovenia play England. And speaking of Serbia, they are just hanging in there, and that point off Slovenia will be hugely valuable if they can capitalize on it versus Denmark. Finally, to end off the day, we got the blockbuster of Group B, Spain versus Italy. Yet another Euro 2020 semi-final rematch. Leaving where they left off, Spain practically put a collar on the Italians and walked them all over the pitch. I mean, Nico Williams alone was making Di Lorenzo look like a Serie D fullback. I hadn't seen an Italian be exposed this badly since Andrew Cuomo. But despite Spain's constant onslaught, their finishing was letting them down time and time again. But as the Euro 2024 slogan goes, if none of your players can score, just let the opposition do it for you. That was enough for Spain as they won 1-0 in absolute dominating fashion. They are 100% the real deal. Who knew that utilizing your wingers for the first time since the Middle Ages would make you successful? Now looking at Group B, Spain sit atop and become the second team to confirm a spot in the knockouts. Meanwhile, Italy are placed second. If they can get at least a point off Croatia, they'll probably finish runners-up. Albania and Croatia are both tied with just 1 point, and their chances of going to the next round aren't really looking that great. Croatia play Italy, as we've mentioned before, and Albania will have to play a red-hot Spain. The next day opened with Slovakia versus Ukraine, and the Slovakians would carry their phenomenal run over as Ivan Šranc scores his second of the tournament. He now joins Jamal Musiala as the only other player to have scored more than 1 goal in this tournament. But even funnier is the current top scorer, the own goal, with 5. Anyways though, in the second half, knowing they couldn't have another disastrous performance, the Ukrainians equalized through Mykola Shaparenko. But they weren't done there, as in the 80th minute, Roman Yaremchuk with some wonderful footwork completes the comeback for Ukraine. A huge bounce back from the horrific showing versus Romania, and now Group B's gotten even more interesting. Poland versus Austria next, and one fan got to be seated real close to the Poles. We really got to witness the true effectiveness of Ralf Rangnick's Austria as they took the lead in just the 9th minute. However, Poland, without Lewandowski, have a little fortune go their way and Krzysztof Piatek equalized in the 30th minute. But then in the second half, Austria retake the lead through a wonderful finish from Christoph Baumgartner in the 66th minute. And then later in the 78th, Marko Arnautovic caps off a fantastic Austrian display as Rangnick's men win 3-1. Then to end off day 3 of Matchday 2, we had the Netherlands versus France. And the main headline going into this game was that Mbappe would not be starting. Oh, and also his mask. Just a minute into the game though, Jeremy Frimpong for the Dutch is on the break, but his shot is saved by Mike Maignan. 13 minutes played. Here come the French as Adrien Rabiot breaks free of the defense, but instead of going for goal himself, he gives Antoine Griezmann like 0.008 seconds to react. Seconds later though, Griezmann finds himself in acres of space, but his shot goes wide. Fast forward to the 64th minute now, it's Griezmann again, but still he can't manage to find the net. Now a spell for the Dutch. Gakpo connects with Depay. His shot is saved, but it falls right at the feet of Xavi Simons, who fizzes it into the bottom right corner, and the Netherlands stun France. But it's offside. After that, nothing could separate the two, and the match would become the first 0-0 result of the entire tournament. Now looking at the group of death, it is still anyone's to win between the Netherlands, France, and Austria. But it is a completely different story for Poland though, as they become the first nation eliminated from Euro 2024. Finally, the last day of Matchday 2, which began with two teams eager for all 3 points. Georgia versus Czechia. Czechia dominated early on, however, Georgian keeper Georgi Mamardashvili had manifested the spirits of prime Neuer. And now knowing they had gotten their goal basically, the Georgians turned the tide quickly. Then in the 45th minute, fortune arrives in the form of a penalty, and Czech Vitadze scores his second of the tournament. He now joins 2 other players to have scored more than 1 goal. However, after 80 shots on goal, Czechia finally found Mamardashvili's weakness: bullshit. And the Czechs equalize. From there, the Czechs would search for the winner, but again, Mamardashvili proved unstoppable. But now, Czechia with one last chance, but then they lose the ball, and Georgia has the numbers on the break. 3 against 1. Czechia retreats, and Georgia now all of a sudden have the chance to blow the roof off this stadium. The ball is laid on a player de Saba Lobs Hanitsa, but it sails over the goal. And it's an absolutely devastating end to this one, as the game ends 1-1 somehow. But a quick shout to Mamardashvili, who faced 12 shots on target and saved 11 of them. Onto the other Group F fixture now. Portugal versus Turkey. And I'm afraid the paradox is very much alive and well. After beating Georgia and looking overall impressive, the Turkish dark horse talk returned. And just like every time it happens, every time Turkey gets just a tiny drop of expectations, they completely shit the bed. This Turkish side looked nothing like what we saw in their first game, and Portugal had a field day with them.
Next up, we've got... Woo! We've got Vegeta. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Who are we gonna get? Who are we gonna get? Are you serious? Are you cut ya? Slit you open. Who do we... No!
It wasn't even close, as Portugal beat them 3-0 and become the 3rd team to advance to the knockouts. Now looking at Group F, after 2 games played, Portugal sit in first with 6 points. And despite the awful performance, Turkey still hold on to second with 3 points, while Czechia and Georgia sit at the bottom tied with a measly 1 point. Lastly, we had Belgium versus Romania, and in just 2 minutes, the Belgians scored through a Yuri Tielemans strike. Then later into the 79th minute, Belgium ditched the play from the back nonsense, go route 1 through the keeper, and the ball sails over everyone to reach De Bruyne, who caps off a huge victory for the Belgians. Oh, also, Lukaku had his 3rd goal called off because of VAR, so technically, he would be top scorer if it wasn't for VAR. Now looking at Group E, it's absolutely incredible because every team has 3 points. Matchday 3 could genuinely be such an insane spectacle. Oh, by the way, as you can see from your own eyes, the quality of the highlights aren't exactly the clearest. That's mainly just to avoid copyright, but if you want to see clearer looking highlights, you can become a member on my website and watch there. Anyways, last match day of the group stages, and we start with Group A. Germany were on top with 6 points, but eager to push them off their throne was second place Switzerland, who took the lead in the group through Dan Ndoye in the 28th minute. However, in the first minute of stoppage time, Germany responded through a Nicholas Füllkrug header and would reclaim the top spot. Meanwhile, Group A's bottom half in Scotland and Hungary were both in a must-win situation to keep their hopes alive. And that urgency really reflected in this match, players trying to kill each other and very low quality chances. In fact, despite holding most of the possession, Scotland didn't register a single shot on target in 90 minutes. However, with the game still 0-0 with 10 minutes of stoppage time, the tension really started to increase. Into the first minute of stoppage time, Hungary effortlessly passes through the Scottish defense, but they can't apply the finishing touch. 1 minute later, Hungary on the break again. Kevin Sjoboth is played in. He sets his feet, his shot beats the keeper, but it hits the post. Nearing the 6 minute of stoppage time now, Scotland gets in behind. Lewis Morgan squares it to S9 McTominay, but he can't keep the shot down. But again, it's the Scottish, as McTominay plays a brilliant pass to Grant Hanley, and that right there, folks, was Scotland's first shot on target. It only took 98 minutes. Scotland aren't stepping off the gas though. A corner is whipped in, nothing comes of it, and out of the blue, a literal f***ing bear stops them in their tracks. Hungary now on the counter. Szoboszlai dishes it to Sjoboth. He outstrengths his marker, spots Roland Salai. On the dot, he finds him. Now Salai runs towards the touchline, waits for runners, slides it towards the middle, and Kevin Sjoboth scores the winner in the 10th minute of stoppage time. Absolutely insane scenes as Hungary give themselves a massive lifeline. And just like that, this is your final look at Group A. Germany wins the group with 7 points, Switzerland advance as runners-up with 5, Hungary finish in third with 3 points, and they will have to wait to see if they advance. And lastly, there's Scotland, who have now officially gone 28 years winless in international tournaments, and they still haven't made it out of the groups. On to Group B, and with Spain confirmed winners of the group, second place is anyone's for the taking. Italy currently hold the spot. Their last match is versus 4th place Croatia. Italy advance if they win or draw, while Croatia, on the other hand, is in a must-win situation, as is Albania. And unfortunately for the Albanians, this was the end of the road, as a single Spanish goal was enough to banish them. So it all came down to Italy versus Croatia. First half though, terrible. Italy were playing for a draw, and Croatia was attacking like they were already 3-0 up. I mean, I was dozing off by the 25th minute. The second half started with a bang though. Handball in the box, penalty for Croatia, but Donnarumma makes a brilliant stop. However, moments later, Croatia come again as a ball is whipped in. First shot is saved, but it falls right to who else but Luka Modric, who blasted into the roof of the net. Croatia, now on top, they move up to second in the group, and Italy could be in trouble. On the hour mark now, good chance for Italy off the corner, but Bastoni can't keep the header down. 86 minutes played. Time is ticking for the Pastafarians. Retegui plays it across, but no one can get on the end of it. Croatia just escaped that one. 1 minute remaining now. Croatia just needs to hold off one last attack to lock a spot into the next round. And that is that. Heartbreak at the very end, and with Croatia only on 2 points, it is very unlikely they'll move on to the next round now. So this is how Group B stands at the end of match day 2. Spain win the group, their opponent in the knockouts is still to be determined, while Italy finish runners-up, and they will play Group A runners-up Switzerland in the last 16. Oh, and here's a quick look at the best third place standings after day 2. Sorry, I forgot to screenshot after day 1. Austria remain the best of the rest, followed by Slovakia, Hungary, and Slovenia. Right now, Hungary, who have already played, are banking on the Czechs or the Slovenians to lose or draw. The next day, we saw 2 more groups come to a close, and we'll start with Group D, the group of death. Aside from last place, every single position is still anyone's for the taking. And the last 2 games to determine these spots were first place Netherlands versus third place Austria, and second place France versus fourth place Poland. 5 minutes in, Austria draw first blood through a Daniel Malin own goal. This now sees Austria take first place, and the Dutch drop to third. However, in the 22nd minute, the Netherlands on the attack now as Daniel Malin seeks redemption, but unfortunately he is still dead to his nation. Into the second half, the Dutch come again, this time through Xavi Simons. He dishes it minute to Cody Gakpo, and the Netherlands finally get their equalizer, but more importantly jump back to the top of the group. Not if France have something to say about this though, as in the 56th minute Mbappe scores his first ever Euro goal, and now France sit atop Group D. But the horror doesn't end for the Dutch, as the Austrians retake the lead 3 minutes later, and now the Netherlands drop down to third. Nonetheless, the Dutch return back to second in the 75th minute thanks to a wonderful strike from Memphis Depay. Then just 1 minute later in the other game, Poland are awarded a penalty, but Lewandowski's attempt is saved. However, because Mike Maignan went off his line too early, Lewandowski gets another chance and he doesn't miss this one. And with France now drawing with Poland, the Dutch return to the top of the group. But then, 1 minute later in the 80th minute, the Austrians retake the lead again, and not only do the Dutch drop back to third, but now the Austrians hop up to the top of Group D. And that is how it would end, as Poland vs France ended as a 1-1 draw, and Austria prevails against the Netherlands in a thrilling classic. Which means against all odds, Austria stuns everyone and wins Group D on the final day. Followed by them is France, who also advance, but considering they've been favorites for this tournament, they've been pretty disappointing. Next was Group C. You're smoking if you think I'm even gonna bother here. What a shit group, man. Jesus Christ. Anyways, despite England playing like ass so far, they win Group C. Advancing with them is second place Denmark, who earned 3 draws and beat third place Slovenia on disciplinary record. And that now confirms Denmark as Germany's opponent in the last 16. Now a quick look at the best third place team standings, and we got some updates. The Netherlands have confirmed the spot into the next round with the safe number of 4 points. And with their defensive masterclass against England, the Slovenians have confirmed a spot as well. Pretty incredible feat considering this is their first Euro tournament since 2000.
Thank you for the point. Thank you for the point. Southgate, Southgate, thank you for the point.
And also, because of Slovenia's draw, that means Croatia are officially eliminated from Euro 2024. Finally, the last day of the group stages, and we kick off with Group B. As we mentioned before, Group B has set itself up for what could be an insane finale, with every team currently on 3 points. 6 minutes into the Belgium-Ukraine game, De Bruyne links up with Romelu Lukaku, and he still can't score. 4 minutes later in the other game, Romania's blue-haired liberal Andrei Ratu tries to curl it, but the keeper makes a great save. 21st minute, free kick for Slovakia, it connects with Kuchka, but it just misses the target. But then Slovakia make no mistake just moments later as a wonderful delivery meets Andrei Duda, and it's 1-0 to the Slovakians. Which now means Slovakia are top of the group, and Romania now risk elimination. Fortunately for the Romanians, this challenge was somehow called inside the box, and Razvan Marin blasted into the net to reset the table. Then a few attacks here and there, some fireworks outside the stadium, and then a random monsoon later, the Slovakians and Romanians thought to themselves, why are we even fighting? We both go through with this result. And boom, Slovakia and Romania international relations improve tenfold. Back to the other game though, Ukraine need to win to advance, and in the 90th minute, Sudakov glides through the Belgian defense, but his shot goes straight at the keeper. So in the end, that match also ends in a draw. So much for the setup, huh? But this is how it all ends. Just like Euro qualifiers, Romania defy all odds and win Group E. Followed by them is Belgium, who advance as runners-up. They will play France in the last 16. The last team to advance out of Group B is Slovakia, one of the best third-place teams. And then there's Ukraine, who make history being the first ever nation with 4 points to not advance to the next round. Finally, Group F. Everyone is still alive, but right now only Portugal and Turkey currently advance to the next round. Czechia and Georgia, on the other hand, are both in must-win situations to keep their hopes alive. Georgia had the tougher task having to play Portugal. However, in just 90 seconds, they find themselves on the break, and Kvaradona slots it past the keeper. Absolute miracle start for the land of Hachapuri. They have to keep calm though, and the backline is doing an exceptional job at that, only allowing Portugal to take measly little shots from outside the box. Then in the second half, even more fortune, as the Georgians are awarded a penalty and Georgia's Mikhail Dadze slots it home easily. And that cushion was enough, as Georgia produced one of the greatest upsets in European Championship history to advance to the knockouts in their first ever international tournament. Georgia 2, Portugal 0. I no longer acknowledge this landmass. Georgia, no. It is now to be called Hotlanta. Over to the other game, and the official for this one decided he wanted to be the main character for that night. We all know that goes well every time.
Dirty, shriveled, anemic little part of you that still mules for approval and love and a mommy and a daddy and a boo-hoo.
Within the first 20 minutes, we saw Antonin Barak receive 2 yellow cards and get sent off, but this official's reign of terror only had just begun. 31st minute, Salih Özkan receives the first booking for Turkey. 34th minute, Patrick Schick, who was on the bench, gets shown a yellow for dissent. 37th minute, Kenan Yildiz gets a yellow for basically nothing. 49th minute, yellow for Ismail Yüksek. Oh look, an actual highlight. Çalhanoğlu on the edge of the box, and it is a lovely strike from the captain. Now where were we? 64th minute, Mert Günok, that is now the 4th Turkish player to receive a yellow. Oh goody, another highlight. Throw in for Czechia, it's flicked on for Tomas Chori, who collides into the keeper, no whistle called, his shot is blocked, it falls to Tomas Suchek, and he blasts it with no regard into the net. The Turks were not happy about this goal standing though, and as a result, both Hakan Çalhanoğlu and then later Ugurkan Çakır get booked. But Czechia are still alive and can advance if they manage a winner. 81 minutes played, the ball bounces all over the place as Jan Kuchta tries to find a way through. He scores, but the official calls it for a foul. But on a further replay, you can see there is no foul. In fact, there are 2 Turkish handballs in the build-up. I mean, now the ref is just seeing shit that literally didn't even happen. But he's not done though. There's still a little more Molly in that system of his, as he books 2 Czech players on the bench and then Samet Akaydın in the 85th minute. But how about another yellow for Ladislav Krejci in the first minute of stoppage time? Oh look, Turkey just scored the winner through Cenk Tosun, but that doesn't seem to matter to the referee because he's just booked 2 more Turkish players. What the hell is going on? Finally, this disastrous game comes to a close as Turkey win 2-1 and advance to the next round. Well, actually, it wasn't over for the ref yet. During a little off-camera skirmish, which was pretty much created because of this referee's disaster class, a red card is given out to Tomas Chori, and then finally 2 more yellow cards are dished out to Suchek and Arda Güler, which brings this man's total to, I think 19? 20? But finally, with that out of the way, here are the final results of Group F. Despite their loss, Portugal win the group, and followed by them is Turkey, who advance as runners-up. Then finally, there's Georgia, who finished 3rd and miraculously advanced thanks to their win versus Portugal. Here's a quick overview of the best 3rd place teams, by the way. The Netherlands, Georgia, Slovakia, and Slovenia will be moving on to the next round, while Hungary and Croatia are both eliminated. And finally, here's the future matchups in the last 16. On one side of the bracket, it is insanely stacked. Spain versus Georgia, Germany versus Denmark, Portugal versus Slovenia, and France versus Belgium. And then on the other side is like the wild card. Romania versus the Netherlands, Austria versus Turkey, England versus Slovakia, and Switzerland versus Italy. All these games will be played in the next few days. Hopefully I'll get some kind of prediction video out pretty soon too. But until then, that is the end of the Euro 2024 group stage review. Now that the group stages have been played out, who do you think will win the Euros? Has your prediction changed, or are you still pretty adamant on what you picked at the very beginning? Let me know. But of course, a massive shout out to all our members, including Janos Balas, Brazilian Fury, Respect the Jeff, Othman JN, Adnazir Makalankam, Alex Rod, Ulta, Miguel Munoz, Return Fire, Rory Burns, Sliderkit, Sniffer, Sako Okafan, The Cypriot 35, Not Windows 95 Man, Kentra Agacha, Big Boars the Baby Eater II, Kerbo, Unkwell, St. Terrence, Sylvia Citrus, Ryan Jans, Wise Orange, Rashford Enthusiast, Cocosaurus Rex, LeJames Braun, Samu, Just MRC, Cheesebait, Cooper Rory, The Somali Pirate, Claymore Roomba, Winder Gel, M4 Does Stuff, Finn Likes Rugby More, Davox, The Porter Geyser, TPSK25, Polar Protos, Van Fan, Lucian Von Croix, Chris Visconsi, Dominic Griffin, Kyler Krebs, Mohammed Altanib, Nish, Patrick Barley, Rashford God 5, Raspberry Ale, subscribe to Tenday Tim, and a Broken Persona. If you'd like to join the new membership, there will be a link down below and up in the annotations. You can follow my Twitter if you want, follow my Instagram if you like, follow my Twitch. Not going to be able to do any watch-alongs because I will be in Germany, unfortunately. Well, unfortunately for you, fortunately for me, I guess. But until then, I'll see you guys.